Good morning, everyone. I'm back in my garden this morning. It's been a while since I worked for a long time in my garden. The past 2 weeks were very busy with other projects inside the house, with family. So today I'm back again in my garden, and there are things that need to be done and plants that need attention. I have several banana trees that need to be pruned, and I'm planning on doing that today. Also, I have a heliconia lobster claw I planted last year, and it hasn't been doing really well, and I think I just need to move it in a different spot. So I'll try to do that today as well. About 2 weeks ago, I planted maybe 3 weeks ago, I planted some more tomatoes and cucumbers, and those are growing really fast. I'm excited to show the progress, but also I never got to staking those or putting cages around them. So today, at some point, I need to make my way to the store and maybe buy some tomato cages, or figure out where I'm gonna do, like how I'm gonna stake these plants. So yeah, there's a lot to do in the garden today. So I'm gonna turn the camera around and take you with me. These are the latest tomatoes that I planted, and I got these from Walmart, and they were pretty small when I planted them about 3 weeks ago, and you can see like they growing rapidly. I even have tomatoes on them. So I'm gonna try to find tomato cages today at the store and put around them, because if I wait any longer, like you can see how big they are getting. If I wait too long, it will be difficult to stake them, or I'm gonna damage them trying to get them inside the cages. So that's gonna be my job for today. So, and here I have the cucumbers that I planted recently. And I even have a tiny cucumber on here already. So I definitely need to figure out some kind of structure for it today, so they can start climbing, because I can see that they are now attaching to themselves. So here is the monsters tomato. You can see this tomato overtaken this whole garden bed. And I even came out here about a week ago and tried pruning a little bit off. But unfortunately, it seems like the more I prune, the faster it grows. And there's tomatoes mostly on the inside. Right now they are ripe, and the rest, all this outside growth, has flowers on them and green tomatoes. So I kind of feel bad cutting it off, because I'm gonna be cutting off a lot of fruit if I do that. So I'm gonna show you heliconia that needs to be moved. So it's in the very back of the garden. So right by the fence here, I have a very thin strip. So at the very end of this strip, this little garden bed that I have here, I planted heliconia. And initially, it had a lot of shade. You can see my neighbor has a big oak tree, but unfortunately, they trimmed this tree after I planted this heliconia, and now it's not getting as much shade. At this point, it's in the shade, but during the day, like majority of the day, it gets too much sun. Also, I think the soil is not very good in this corner, and it looks like it's getting water. I'm not sure what else it doesn't like in this spot, but it doesn't seem like it likes this spot at all. So I'm gonna plan on moving it today, because I really don't want to kill this. can see the leaves are browning, and there are some new growth that is coming out. Like this one right here is looking healthy, but the rest of it is just not looking good. So I need to figure out a different spot in the garden where it's gonna get more shade. It still likes to be in a bright light, just not direct sunlight, or not a lot of direct sunlight. So it probably would do okay with morning sun, just not the afternoon sun. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to move it, and hopefully it's gonna do well. This heliconia has a beautiful red, orange-red flowers. It will grow to about 5-6 feet high. I've seen them grow a lot higher than that, and they grow in zones 9 and 10. So they do like warm weather. They cannot tolerate cold. So if it drops below 40 degrees, they will not do well. And I don't believe that we had temperatures below 40 for a while. So I'm surprised actually that it's not doing well. But I really think it just doesn't like this spot right here. So I'm going to show you my banana trees. This is the latest transplant. This one is very small. It only has 3 leaves on it. So I'm not going to do anything to it today. It's fine. It's recently been planted. It doesn't need a lot of attention. On the other hand, this one right here, this needs to be trimmed. So when I was buying this at the nursery, I was talking with one of the gardeners there, and what they taught me about bananas, that I need to keep them trimmed down to 6 leaves. So I'm gonna count right now: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So everything below that needs to be cut off. So then the tree can send the nutrients in a new growth and hopefully produce flower and fruit. Also, I was told to take off this brown growth on them to allow a tree to absorb sunlight. So we're just gonna take these outer leaves from here, or like from the trunk, to expose a little bit more of a green trunk, and that's gonna help absorb more sunlight in a trunk. And here's Cavendish banana, and you can see also it has a lot more than 6 leaves on it. So I'm gonna cut off a few leaves, and then the trunk is okay right now. It does have some green on it, but we want to avoid to have just this brown growth. So as long as this has green, and I think recently I was just walking by and I took off a few leaves. So I might not even do a lot to this trunk, but I will cut off some leaves from it. And then it has 2 offshoots here. This one is looking pretty big, and I think I'm gonna leave this bigger one on and allow it to grow. So when this one produces fruit, I'm gonna cut it off and let this banana grow. But the smaller one, I'm debating whether I should transplant it or if I should let it grow a little bit bigger. with bananas, once they produce, they will never produce again. So typically after they have fruit, the tree needs to be cut down, and then the new offshoot will take place of the mother tree. And I have another banana tree right there, also transplant, one of the most recent transplants. And I just need to trim off the leaves that are brown on the bottom. And it looks like it started growing new growth. Like there's a new leaf coming out, and it's a sign of a healthy tree if we have a new leaf production. So I think this one will bounce back and will do okay. So right in the back here, I have another variety of banana, and this one is ornamental. This one does not produce fruit. The variety is called Zebrina, and it's been in the ground for about a year, and it seems like it's constantly dying on me. So I'm gonna see if I can just move it out of this spot and find a new home for it, and maybe it will do better. Took out this banana tree, and what I noticed, the soil is very soggy in that spot where this Zebrina banana was located. And I have heliconia here that I was gonna put in a different part of the garden. And one thing about heliconias, they do like moist, constantly moist soil, or at least that's where I read about it. So I'm thinking it's going to be a good spot for heliconia here. It does have some protection from the sun. It's surrounded by other plants. So I'm going to try out this spot. I'm thinking just it's going to look so beautiful if I have a nice plant here, and it also will screen a little bit from the neighbors as well. So I'm gonna try putting it in this spot, and we'll see what's gonna happen. If it doesn't like this spot, I'm gonna have to move it around again, but I'm hoping for the best. And then with banana tree, I'll have to figure out where I'm gonna put them. There's actually 3 or 4 of them in here, so I'm gonna have to separate them in a few minutes and figure out where I'm gonna move them to. So here's the heliconia. It looks like the root system is very healthy on it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and place it in the same hole where I had the banana that I just pulled out, and we're gonna see what's gonna happen. So this looks pretty good. This hole is a little too deep, so we're gonna add more soil here. And I have some compost here, so I'm gonna add that as well. So heliconia is in, and I put it in the same hole where it had bananas. I didn't trim the leaves or anything. I'm just gonna let it be for now and see what's gonna happen. So it is the end of the day. I was able to go to the store and get these tomato cages. They weren't very difficult to install. I literally just pushed them in around the plant, making sure not to break any branches. And this tomato is small enough that it wasn't much of a fight. Over the cucumbers here, I just used the existing stakes that I had and I inserted them in a planter, and then I tied them right here on the top with some twine, and I'm hoping that it will hold together. I'm also hoping that this will be enough of a structure for this cucumber to climb and attach itself. And if not, if it's having a hard time climbing this structure, I may add some string to it as well. Yeah, and all my banana trees are trimmed. I also trimmed this tomato plant, even though it still looks huge. It's already a huge improvement from what it was. I didn't get to trimming other tomatoes that are in the ground, but those weren't a priority for me today. So I think I'm just gonna wrap it up. I picked up all the green waste. I also ended up planting some extra plants that I didn't plan on planting. So these are eggplants. They're pretty small right now, but I decided just to get them in. I left one out to grow a little bit bigger, just in case those don't take. And yeah, so that was my project for today, and I think I'm gonna wrap it up now. So I'll see you in the next video.